Hey guys, today we get to review the most anticipated cards from the Saviors of Uldum set, the Saviors of Uldum themselves. We'll be looking at these 4 heroic explorers with our non-5-star rating system.
Who's up for an adventure?
In case you didn't see the previous videos, let's recount the 3 questions Hearthstone players really want to know, which these card reviews are asking. First, will the card fit into one of the current powerful decks, usually Tier 1 through Tier 3 decks, per HS Replay's tier list, which we'll call meta decks. So, is it meta now? Second, will the card fit into a meta deck once the set comes out? Meaning, if it won't slot into a current meta deck, is it powerful enough to make a new deck archetype viable? At least taking into account what has been revealed thus far. So, is it meta later? And third, perhaps most importantly, is it a card that will inspire crazy, experimental, or meme decks? So, is it meme deck worthy? Each card will get a yes or no to these questions. Now, for those of you without a lot of time, there's a time code in the description below to jump to for the quick reviews. For everyone else, let's get into the detailed reviews. Now, before we get into the individual card reviews, there are a few things that apply to all 4 of these legendary cards. Each of these have a battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, do X type of text. This is an old deck building mechanic Blizzard is bringing back for the set. For example, you can see Reno Jackson and Kazakis, which both have found inordinate amounts of play. Decks built this way are sometimes called singleton decks, or other times called Highlander decks, because there can be only one. The deck itself could actually have 2 copies of a few cards, but to use this battle cry effect, you cannot have any duplicates left in the cards you haven't drawn yet during the game you play it. This is particularly important because, as a portion of the community have pointed out, Bomb Warrior completely destroys this deck archetype. If decks using these turn out to be really powerful, other classes might consider running Hakar, the Soul Flayer, to help counter the decks. Though that is a much slower and perhaps more fair way of countering the decks that use these cards. However, it is surprising that Blizzard chose to have these long-awaited Saviors of Uldum be almost completely countered by one of the most powerful and popular archetypes in the game. Of course, if you draw enough of the bombs, you can still use these cards. If you're alive, that is. So, unless Blizzard also prints some kind of 3 mana or less card stating something to the effect of destroy duplicate copies of cards in your deck, I'm not sure if these saviors will be able to hold their own. But let's look at their effects and see which ones are likely to be worth the risk. Oh, and one last point before starting the reviews. As there are no Singleton or Highlander decks in Standard at the moment, none of these cards would slot into a current meta deck. Oh, one last point before starting the reviews. As there are no Singleton or Highlander decks in Standard at the moment, none of these cards would slot into a current meta deck. Or at least that's what I thought until I saw Trump's, the streamer, not the US president, review of one of these cards, and he made an interesting point that I'll note during that Savior's card review. So the first card we'll review is Elise the Enlightened, a 5-mana 5/5 with a battle cry that if you have no duplicates in your deck, she will duplicate your hand. She's a bit of a challenging card, as you want to have enough cards in your hand to get value from her, but few enough cards in your hand to get value from her. Yeah. So ideally she's your 5th or 6th card in hand when you play her, and you go to 8 or 10 cards. She can enable some pretty powerful combos, especially with Malagos and Moonfires. Remember, as long as you don't have any duplicates left over in your deck, she'll work. And Druid is really good at drawing cards quickly. However, as this does not fit well into Token Druid, it's not meta now. An OTK combo could form with her at the center, but I'm not sure that it'll be powerful enough to compete against the current powerful decks. Needless to say, decks that will be even more powerful once the expansion has arrived. Druid does have card draw and some armor gain, so it could just barely edge its way into the meta, but the number of ways this could be countered, not just by Bomb Warrior, but by Hecklebot on this or Malagos as well, makes it seem unlikely it'll be able to reach meta status. Now, Even if the Malagos version does make it to meta status, this card will definitely be meme-worthy, as it will enable all kinds of bizarre combos. Remember, with her, you can have duplicate legendaries, which is a thing that would not normally be possible. It'll be fun to see what shenanigans we can pull off with her. Next we have Dino Tamer Bran, a 7-mana 2/4 whose battlecry reads, if your deck has no duplicates, summon King Crush. Now King Crush is a 9-mana 8/8 with charge. King Crush for 7 mana with a 2/4 body? That's value. Unfortunately, none of the current meta decks would really want to run Bran, as the sacrifice of duplicates would just be too heavy with the card pool available at the moment. If any current meta deck could slot him in, it would be Secret Hunter, but even they would still want to run 2 copies of Secret Keeper, Sunreaver Spy, Mass Contender, and probably Unleash the Beast, and 1 or 2 of the secrets. So that's a lot of cards to draw through with a practically dead card in hand in a class typically known for its difficulty in drawing cards. Not meta now. Coming down at 7 mana, he's not an aggressive card, even though he does summon a massive charging 8/8. Unfortunately, it does not seem that Hunter has enough control tools in Standard to make a slower control deck just by running 1 copy of each card. So I don't know that it's going to be able to make meta later either. Okay, did someone say King Crush? We can summon a King Crush for 7 mana and run a normal King Crush, which we can get a 3rd copy of from Hunting Party. How many 8/8s can we summon in a single game? Will it be a good deck? No. But will it be fun? Oh yeah. The third Savior of Uldum is Reno the Relicologist, a 6-mana 4/6 with a battlecry that if you have no duplicates in your deck, he will deal 10 damage split randomly among all enemy minions. So Reno's got a Gatling wand. It seems to only work on minions, but he can still hit face himself. So this is a pretty powerful board clear for 6 mana with a decent body attached. Now, Cyclone Mage and Dragon Mage wouldn't really run this at the moment, but Freeze Mage could possibly consider it. However, the sacrifice of losing 2nd copies of draw cards to get through their deck quickly and play Luna's Pocket Galaxy as quickly as possible would probably hit the deck a little bit too hard to merit its inclusion for now. So not meta now. Now, as Mage does have a wide variety of tools to choose from, they can cycle through their deck fairly quickly, as well as potentially discount Reno to a 1-mana minion. He may find a home in Mage in the upcoming meta. Mage is used to playing a variety of random cards in the current meta, so it's not too much of a stretch to include him. Decks may still run a couple copies of card draw cards with him, just waiting to activate him once they've drawn their duplicates, as he's an acceptable target for Luna's Pocket Galaxy, even without his battlecry. And hopefully Blizzard will be including some more support for Highlander decks to make him even better. I think there's a good chance he'll be meta later. Now, while the artwork and idea of Reno blasting a Gatling wand are both awesome, I'm not seeing meme-worthy combos, and he's not terrible enough that just playing him deserves meme status, so ultimately, he doesn't earn the meme deck-worthy title at the moment. And finally, we have my favorite Savior of Uldum, if you couldn't tell from the voice line for the title card, Sir Finley of the Sands. The reason I love this character has nothing to do with this card, but rather that he's a brilliant and sophisticated archaeologist and explorer as a Murloc. Anyways, this time he's a 2-mana 2/3, and if your deck has no duplicates, his battlecry will allow you to discover an upgraded hero power. I'll show the upgraded hero powers in a second, but let me say real quick, Bran riding on a dino is cool, but Sir Finley riding on a giant golden beetle? That's awesome. Okay, I digress. These are the upgraded hero powers you can get, but as Discover only allows you to choose between 3, there's no guarantee that you'll get the one you're hoping for. Now, when reviewing this card, Trump, again, the streamer, not the US president, mentioned that 3 of these options would actually work decently with the Holy Wrath Paladin deck: heal, soul tap, and tank up. There will still be times when you won't get any of those 3 as an option, in which case Totemic Slam with the Taunt Totem could help stall as well. But of all the heroes, this is the closest to being viable in a current meta deck. You would still have to cut out half of your deck and replace them, and it's not necessarily worth the sacrifice, except Soul Tap. But just so we can have one of these saviors pass on meta now, we'll go ahead and say it could work. As it does work in the Holy Wrath Paladin, and this might even be able to find a home in an aggressive Paladin, which the other card reveals thus far seem to point towards, I'd say Sir Finley may be able to make his way into the meta later. If Holy Wrath isn't meme enough for you, let's make a Murloc Holy Wrath deck so that we can swarm our opponent. Sometimes high roll the draw hero power, other times heal our Murlocs, and occasionally just do absurd amounts of damage together with the Murlocs to finish off our opponent. The sophisticated Beetle Rider joins the Murloc swarm. No. Anyways, and that's all the cards. Now for the quick reviews. At least the Enlightened is not meta now, nor meta later, but meme-worthy. Dino Tamer Bran is also not meta now, nor meta later, but also meme-worthy. Reno the Relicologist doesn't quite make meta now, probably does make meta later, but isn't really meme deck worthy. Sir Finley of the Sands could actually be meta now, rides into the meta later, and is oh so meme worthy. And that's a wrap. Of course, this is a subjective review, but I'm making some pretty direct predictions. Let me know in the comments below if you think I missed something, and if you disagree or agree with something I said. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring. See you!